Welcome to Creative Piecemeal Podcast, a podcast for creatives. I'm your host, Tammy Takeishi. Join me for compelling conversations with artists, actors, authors, musicians, and other creatives about the impact of the creative and fine arts in their lives and our ever-changing world. Thank you for listening. Hello, welcome to another episode of Creative Piecemeal Podcast. I'm your host, Tammy Takeishi. Today, I'm joined by my friend and fellow musician and podcaster, Daniel Issawi. He's also known as Daniel Izzy, and he is a vocalist and host of the YouTube podcast, Izzy's Sandpit, which brings a fresh approach to the multitudes of music podcasts and his fun, authentic chats with musicians, often from rock, punk, and metal bands. He features a mix of signed and unsigned artists, and even if you haven't heard of the artists featured on the show, each interview is worth catching to learn more about the music business, creative process, and discovering new and noteworthy musicians. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. We're going to get started with sort of a deep question, which is who or what inspired you to become a musician and then later a podcaster?
Okay, so from a musical perspective, it was probably Chris Cornell, who is the late singer of Soundgarden, and Anthony Kiedis from the Chili Peppers. They were sort of the first two sort of like rock musicians I ever heard, and I was fascinated with Chris Cornell. I literally got all of the back catalogue of Soundgarden, and then the Chili Peppers obviously are just a huge band. Even now, just released their new album, their new singles, Black Summer and Poster Girl, which are great, really good. So from an early age, I sort of sang a lot and wanted to basically, just to sing really. So Chris Cornell, just such an amazing voice. And then as I got older, it sort of stretched out to the likes of Matt Bellamy from Muse, trying to think of who else really. I've not got a ton of influences. There's loads of singers that I respect, because I know how hard it is to be a singer and so that's it really. It's a small list of singers.
That's okay though.
Justin Hawkins for The Darkness actually. I know his voice is a little bit different, but he's good. I like Justin Hawkins. I think he's got a different voice. Trying to think who else. That's it really. If any come up, I'll drop back in.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good list though, and everyone's so unique and has such an interesting vocal perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And I like unique voices, and I like people that I just like music. I like music that captures me. I still find myself listening to the same albums from when I was, my teens and 20s, but with my podcast and with the YouTube channel, I'm discovering more and more bands and more great bands that are newer. I am finding myself that my music taste is growing a little bit and going a little bit different. But I say that in a breath, and here I am like on my second screen with Compliance by Muse, their new single. So old habits die hard, you know what I mean? Old habits die hard.
Yeah. No, I just listened to that one the other night, actually.
Banger.
Yeah.
Absolute banger. Not as good as Moat Stand Down.
Yeah, everything they do is just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, when I used to live back in the UK, I used to run a lot with my brother-in-law. And we used to have this conversation probably once a month of what we put our Muse albums into order and what we thought was the best. And Muse was always a topic. And I always flip between Origins and Symmetry and Absolution. Those two albums for me are the absolute pinnacle of Muse, of what Muse are.
Oh, totally.
But then towards the bottom, it was always a mix-up. It was mixed between Uprising or The Second Law or Showbiz. But when everyone's got I think a lot of big bands, when you've been around for 20 odd years, you've got a bad album. So for me, like Metallica, Say Anger is a poor album. You know, it's not really Metallica. It's got some good songs on it, but it's not the best. And with Muse, I just don't think they've got a bad album. Even though that Showbiz, I think The Second Law or you know, is probably one of their, or even Simulation Theory, the recent album. It's kind of poppy and dancey, and it's not what Muse were.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still good. It's still quality, and that's what I love about Muse.
Yeah. So. Their sort of bottom of the barrel is everyone else's like best day ever at writing a song.
Exactly, you know? Exactly. If I could have released The Second Law as my album, I'd have been well happy. But saying that though, again, at the start of the album, you know, Supremacy, Panic Station, Madness, just great songs, just really good songs. Uprising, Undisclosed Desires, and The United States of Eurasia. Great. It's just when it gets towards the end of the album, like Freeze Me Off, Second Law is just it's not very good. It's not a good song.
What did you think of Drones? Drones is just spectacular.
I love Drones. I went to see Drones at the Manchester Evening News Arena with a couple of friends a few years ago, and Drones was brilliant. The stage lighting and the show was just fantastic. But again, Reapers, Psycho, they're two songs that just bounce off that album. It just some great songs and a really good strong return. And then after that, then they released Simulation Theory, which it's good. It's a good album. It's not Muse though for me. It wasn't as musey as I liked it to be. So yeah.
They definitely are doing a bit of departure, but back to you. we'll have to do a second episode just all dedicated, right?
Absolutely. No.
Yeah. So back to you. When did you first really become passionate about doing music and picking up and playing guitar and deciding to do a podcast, which is really growing and going absolutely fantastic?
So in terms of music, I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with music in terms of like bands and things. I've been in bands since I was 14. So from a young age, I've had probably in the grand scheme of things, probably very little success. Not really played at any major festivals or anything like that. But I played at some good venues, and I've enjoyed it. And I love music and I love playing guitar. The love-hate relationship is I find the people that I've been in bands with have not always been, I've not always enjoyed it. And that's not their fault. And one band that I was in was called Ape, a silly name. It was like a Red Hot Chili Peppers band. That was great. And then the guitarist left. He was studying civil engineering at university. So that band sort of fell apart, and that was probably the best band I've been in, if I'm being honest. And it was a shame because my friend Gaz, who are long-time friends, and we've tried to start a few things, and it's just never really worked out. My last band, 4 Divided by 2, was born out of just two people and myself. It was supposed to be a solo album that I ended up bringing in a drummer, and we ended up making it a band instead. And obviously COVID hit, and we played 2 gigs. We played the Swan with Two Necks in Macclesfield, and we played a place called Evil Eye in Liverpool. And they were great gigs, and we actually had about 40 people come to Evil Eye, which was, you know, for a band that's second, that's quite a decent little attendance. Then COVID hit, and I tried to restart it. So we did some recording in the December, but then in the January, it just didn't really work. So I parked that. I've been playing guitar for up until about 2.5 years. So I wrote the EP basically with me being a learner guitar. So if anyone wants to have a dig, it's a band called 4 Divided by 2. I'm the singer and the guitarist. My friend Will is the drummer, and he does like synthesizers. So that's synth rock type. It's got a bit of it's got more like a Queen to the Stone Age type vibe to it. And it's pretty good. I like it anyway. I think it's a good album, and I think considering I'd only been playing guitar at that point for 2 years to record an EP, and it sounded pretty good. I was quite pleased with it. After that, I sort of, with that, I was like, right, no more bands. So I took about probably a year out, and when I moved to Dubai, I was then like, right, I went and looking, and there's a music business out. There's always loads of entertainment out here because it's just full of hotels and bars, and it's great. It's a wonderful place to live, especially for the British expat community. It's nice and safe, and it's wonderful. But when you go and look for what I like, which is metal and heavy and hard rock, and there's not a lot out here. So I thought, how could I start something? How could I keep in touch with the music back in the UK? So I thought, I know, I'll start a YouTube channel, because I class myself more as this is going to sound a little bit pretentious. I guess I'm a right wanker, actually. I'm sorry. I'm more like I prefer to be a host, a chat host, as opposed to an interviewer or a podcaster. So like all my interviews, like my podcast and my TV channel is not scripted. I write prompts. So I've got prompts, but I don't have a script. The amount of people that have gone, can you send me a script? There is no script. I make this shit up as I go along. And I literally I've just finished a chat with a guy called John Paul Quantrill from a band called Stormbringer. They're a good set of lads. And we were doing a chat the other day, and he was like, there's no script for this. I'm like, no scripts. And we were just, if you listen, it just darts around. So it's a little bit scatty, the TV channel at times, because we just end up chatting random stuff. But it's all good. It's all good. Random is good.
It sounds like you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I love it. I enjoy it. I really do. And it's amazing because the lads I had, the chat that I just released a week ago, Sylvain, Aaron has been really helpful in trying to get some of the local bands to him to come on. I've had some great feedback from some good sound artists that they enjoyed coming on, and I enjoy it, and it's easy as well. It's good for me because it keeps me in touch with the music industry. It means I can just chat with people, which is, as you can probably tell, it doesn't really come hard. No, it's good. It's really enjoyable, and I want to put a little bit back into the music industry as well, because it's a tough game out there. It's a tough gig, without no pun intended. Yeah. It's a tough game because record companies don't quite pay what they used to, and CD sales and album sales are not what they used to be. So you've got to support the artists however you can. And I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it.
I listen to your show, and you can hear the love of music and the love of what you're doing shine through. And that's what makes it so enjoyable, whether you're listening or watching on the YouTube channel.
Thank you. I'll always push it down the YouTube channel element, because obviously, as you and I are fully aware, we pay to podcast, unless you get picked up by a media company where they get you sponsors and or you get Patreons, which I have got 3 membership subscribers, and one lady called Claire who tends to just send cash every so often, where she's quite happy. And the channel is very young. I'm on episode 11. I think I'm at week 9, because originally I was sort of bouncing 2 a week episodes, and then I've decided to drop it to 1 week, and there's going to be something new coming up, a new section, a new thing I'm doing.
Cool.
In the midweek, which is just me. It's just me on my own. There's no outside agent involved in this one. So you just have to put it with me. But they're a lot shorter. They're about 12, probably 10 to 12 minute videos as opposed to an hour where the chats are.
Well, that sounds exciting. I look forward to hearing about that. So
I don't know. Should I tell? Oh, go on, Tammy, I'll tell you. Basically, I've got a lot of bands that I've listened to over the years, and I've never really been discovered. So I'm going to try and push a little bit of that. I'm going to do a little bit of reviewing, but in a slightly different way. On my group, I've got a Facebook group called Izzy Sandpit Members Club. If anyone wants to search that, join. It's not a hidden group or anything. You're welcome to join, of which you are a member of, Tammy. So I appreciate it. And yeah, so that is one thing that I put a poll in there, and people wanted to do another chat, but we're just regular people, and it was how to make that work. it's how to make it interesting. And I'm still working that bit out, and that will come like Izzy and Friends type thing. But it's hard to make it, how to make it stand out, really catch. So I'm doing something a bit different for now, and then we'll filter that back in later.
Cool. Well, that's great that you're trying different things, different segments, staying relevant and adapting with the times too. That's always so important.
Absolutely. It's only, like I said, the channel's only young, so the chats with Izzy and on Izzy Sandpit TV will always be it'll be the forefront, and that will always be the mainstay. I'll probably get some of the old guys back on that I've had before. We'll do another interview, and hundreds of thousands of bands out there all over the world. I'm happy to give unsigned, signed artists. These people they probably just don't like the whole media thing. Or being interviewed type thing. So I get that, I understand that. And if they don't want to do it, then I absolutely respect that. But anyone that wants to come onto the channel, American or British, Australian, all over the world, as long as you speak English, because I don't speak any other languages really. Not very well anyway. Not that I'm willing to divulge into I'm just not very good. Yeah, I'm just crap at languages. I'm probably crap at English. Yeah, that's it really.
Nice. And listeners, definitely check out Izzy's Sandpit TV. It's on YouTube and pretty much anywhere you can also get your audio podcast.
Yeah, I'm on all the little ones as well. I think I'm still waiting for Apple Music to do it.
I've heard some people have had some trouble with it ever since they reformatted a few months back.
You can listen to it on the RSS feed through Buzzsprout, and it is mainly a YouTube channel. That's where I'm trying to push people to go down. And YouTube do a good job of supporting creative people through. If it's available on YouTube, I'll put it on in the background, if I can.
One of my favorite questions is to ask, what is your favorite and least favorite parts about the creative process?
So I play guitar a bit. Well, no, I don't play it a bit. I play okay. I've been learning a song by Coheed and Cambria for probably about 2 months now. My partner's probably going to end up throwing me out the window if she hears this song again. A Fave House Atlantic, and the lead part is quite fiddly. So I've been trying to learn that because I'm mainly a rhythm guitarist. The brain wanted to do something, and the fingers not doing what they wanted to do. That irritates me. And writer's block. I've got about 30 half-written songs, and I'm becoming such a meme and a cliche. It's unreal. So it's painful to think that I just can't finish a song. I can finish a takeaway, no drama, but I can't finish a song. From an interview perspective and TV channel, I don't really have any issues with what's going on. I think you get people on, and some will be more chirpy than others. Some guys take a little bit more eking out. You need to the people that you have on. You need to be not careful, but you need to make sure that they want to be there. This is the great thing about my TV channel, actually, is that I feel like everybody wants to be there. I invite them on. Do you want to come on? There's only 2 bands, which I won't name, which have actually asked to come on recently. So out of 12 interviews, 10 of them have all been organised by me. But I've actually had a few emails now where people are asking to come on, which is wonderful. Oh, there's my coffee.
Hey, it's coffee time.
Coffee time. No more water. It's time for a nice cup of coffee. I was supposed to go to that. I can't believe I didn't go to the shop yesterday. Right, okay. So, where was I up to? Yes, so I feel like that people are asking to come on now. And if you want to come on, it's better. I wouldn't say I've had any real issues, actually, in terms of, from a podcasting perspective, like yours, Tammy. It's pre-recorded. And I can edit out. Yeah, cheers. We are holding up coffee cups for the listeners. Cheers. Yeah, so because it's pre-recorded, I can edit out. And I've not had to edit out much, which is wonderful. I love the fact that I've probably edited out 20 minutes of stuff. And that's mainly because of me going, or repeating the same question, or me going, I need to nip to the toilet, or someone going, 2 seconds, I've dropped my beer, someone dropped the beer the other week, it was quite funny. Or can I just go and get another drink? Or I just need to clear my throat. It's something really random. I've probably not even 20 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, and it's great. I love that. So yeah, maybe not being able to get some really massive artists on. Like Matt Bellamy didn't reply to my email. Come on, Matt, what do you think about, mate?
I think we're both still working on that one.
Do you know, I've had some good guys on, man, and you've had some good people on. You've had some successful people on, and you know, you'll be surprised. I always thought, you know, that it'll be like, oh, I need to get hold of their media guy, and so that there isn't a media guy. It's just them. It's just their email address. So you know, yeah, very little in the way of challenges. Yeah, for guitars, come on, hands, do what I tell you. Obey me.
Speaking of guitars, obviously you play guitar and you sing, but if you could play any other instrument, what would it be?
I can't play the guitar, so so hold on a second. What instrument do you want to play badly along with the guitar, which you play relatively badly? No, I joke. I play guitar horrendously. No, joke. Again. I don't know. Probably the piano. I like the piano. I think piano and guitar and rock, they all go together, and metal. You can have a piano. Or something really, really weird, like a cello or a double bass.
I love how you say it's weird.
It's not that, though. It's like, who wakes up in the morning and go, I want to play the bassoon.
Not too
I
many.
want to be a bassoon player. I don't really have any. Yeah, I want to play guitar and sing. That's enough. I play bass. I can play a bit of bass. I have a bass back in England.
So you're happy with guitar. You're like,
I'm happy with guitar. You know, I'm happy with guitar. Probably the piano. That would be the only other one. But I'd rather be good at two, or like I'd rather be good at what I do than diverge too much.
Makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a question I promised you I would ask, and it is: what top 3 meals would you recommend to a tourist or someone visiting the country that you're currently living in?
Oh, right. Okay. So Dubai. Oh, okay.
Or you could also do England. So you could do both. So that means you've got to name 6 meals. Are you ready for that?
Easy, mate. This is the guy that eats for England and for Dubai. So, okay, England first. You're going to have a good roast dinner. So a lamb roast dinner, or a chicken roast dinner, or a beef roast dinner, any roast dinner. Make sure Yorkshire puddings, loads of gravy, mashed potatoes, stuffing, roasted vegetables. Yeah, make sure you have a roast dinner. I would say you need to try a good full English breakfast, but a really nice full, none of this cheap crap. You know, you need to make sure your sausages are nice, good quality. If you're vegetarian, then you can swap them out for a bit of Linda McCartney. She does a banging vegetarian banger, as you would say. And the third one, fish and chips. Good old fish and chips. But you've got to, as anyone that listens to Izzy Sandpit TV will know that I'm big on, you've got to have something moist on there, something a bit wet. So that could include either curry sauce, gravy, or mushy peas. If you're putting mayonnaise and ketchup on, go home. Just go home. Don't come back. Go and sit in your room and until you're willing to invest in something that adds a little bit of texture to your dry meal. Dry meal. No dry meals. You know, I'm going to start a petition. No more dry meals. Hashtag no more dry meals.
There you go. But mushy peas, though.
Mushy peas? You never have mushy peas, Tammy?
Yeah, but on your fish? Like, on the fish.
Yeah, I mean, so the best way I like to do it is you go to the chippy, just go to the chippy, and you're getting your mushy peas. I'll have fish, chips, and mushy peas, please. So you say it with a really northern accent, and then you go, right, they'll go, do you want your mushy peas separate or all together? And you can go, I'll have my mushy peas separate, because when you get home, you then get your bag or your tray that it's in, you put it on a plate, obviously, And then you could like get your mushy peas or your gravy or your curry sauce at this point, and just put half on. You can leave a bit of your fish crispy or a bit of your chips crispy if you like that. And then I tend to just drizzle it on as I go. I don't want it too wet. I don't like it to go mushy, So yeah, drip them on. Bit of salt, no vinegar. Blech, horrible stuff. No vinegar, and just crack it on. Awesome. Same with your gravy at home. Put your gravy on your veg and your mashed potato. But I like my Yorkshire puddings and my roast potatoes. I like them crispy. I like to taste the rosemary that you put on all the thyme or any of the herbs. Making me hungry now. I'm hungry.
I'm gonna have to try that sometime. That sounds so interesting.
Yes, it's lovely. If you go to the UK, or a good old, I'm gonna add a fourth one, and a good old steak pie and chips with just normal peas and gravy. You can't beat. There's so many lovely, good old traditional British food: shepherd's pie, cottage pie. All classic. Bangers and mash, sausage and mash, bangers and mash, all with gravy. In terms of out here, I still eat Lebanese food out here. So shawarma, a nice lamb shawarma wrap, or a chicken shawarma wrap, either varying. A good old matubble, which is like aubergines with rice and lamb. Everything's with lamb with me. I love lamb. Something that I cook quite regularly is something called kusa, which is baby marrows, and you scrape out the middle and scoop out and you stuff it with rice and lamb, and you cook it in tomato puree with pomegranate molasses, and you just leave it to boil for about 2 hours, even longer, and they become dead soft. And you eat it with bread, with flat bread. So that would be the three things that I would recommend. Yeah, or a good old falafel wrap if you're a vegetarian again. Yeah, falafel wrap. I'm not a vegetarian, by the way. I just know it's very big, so I always try and push the veggie guys. I don't want to see the veggie guys upset.
Yeah. Well, there's so many good vegetables. I mean, even if you are a meat eater, there's so many great vegetable options out there.
Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, cauliflower, asparagus, spinach, peas. The good old pea. The pea. Get them stuck up your nose, stick them in your pie. The pea is a game changer.
It is so versatile.
It's such a versatile veg. Exactly. Hashtag love the pea.
There you go. I actually really like kale, and I feel like I liked it before everyone else liked it, and now it's just popular.
Kale's what we used to feed our rabbits. They're both dead now.
Oh.
There were 14, our rabbits were. 14! They had walking sticks and a wheelchair at one point. That old. Roxy and Roger. But yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, we used to feed them kale. I've got a fun cooking tip with kale. If you add soy sauce and a bit of sugar, it makes it taste like seaweed.
Oh, interesting.
And it makes it easier to scrape it into the bin when you don't want to eat it. The first bit was real, but the scraping the bit in the bin is also real. Now, I don't mind kale, but yeah, there's so many other superior vegetables.
We're gonna take a departure from food and get back to music. What is a band that you don't like but everyone else seems to love? You can skip this question if you need to, so you don't jeopardize yourself.
This is always a tough one because I always say music's subjective, and John and I were having a chat here again from Stormbringer the other day, and one band I like their first album, but I'm not that keen on the rest. I'm going to be slightly more diplomatic here and take a band that is Guns N' Roses. I love Appetite for Destruction, but I just can't buy into the rest. November Rain, anything like that. I'm trying to think of a band I actually just don't like, and I don't care if I offend.
That's the big one.
That's the big one. I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't understand the hype behind Lewis Capaldi. Don't get it. I just don't understand that. Ed Sheeran's okay. Massive musician.
You're just more of a rock guy is what you are.
Well, but the thing is, I've picked two there that are massively successful. I get Ed Sheeran. I just don't get Lewis Capaldi. I don't get him. Here we go. Here's someone that but obviously he's not with us anymore, is David Bowie. People love David Bowie, and I just don't get it. don't understand it. I've listened so many times. And the Rolling Stones, take it or leave. There you go, I'll give you a few there. But Mick Jagger, if you're listening, you're a legend. Still respect you. You know,
so it's interesting because there's groups, as you know, there's groups that you can respect what they do, respect their writing, respect them as musicians, but it's not necessarily your taste in music, because that's two different things.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I respect Lewis Capaldi, I respect Ed Sheeran. They're far more successful than I am. David Bowie, massively respected. And that's the thing. There's so many, and music is so subjective. I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I might put on is Slipknot. Some people go, why put Slipknot on at 6 o'clock in the morning? Because I love Slipknot. Yeah, listen away. Listen to what makes you feel happy. But listen to rock music, because rock music is the best. Rock music is the best. No, it is. It's music subjective. That's the beauty of music, is it makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. If there's one person or group that you could get on your show, who would it be? Like, what's your number one dream guest? Or maybe there's a tie. Maybe it's two.
I think I answered that before in the way of Muse. Probably Matt Bellamy or for Muse. But there's so many. I'd love to have so many. And personally, I feel honoured when anyone wants to come on. Anyone wants to give me their time. I honestly, Tammy, thanks for having me on for an hour, because it's weird being on the opposite end.
Right?
I'm the one in. Yeah, it's a bit odd. I'm just chatting away here. Just chatting. So, yeah, and I enjoy it. But yeah, definitely Matt Bellamy from Muse. Definitely Chris Cornell from, I'd have loved to have had him on, obviously. Justin Hawkins from The Darkness. So many. Axl Rose. I'd love to dig into Axl Rose's brain, see what's going on in there. So many good singers out there. M Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold, I think it'd be really interesting. I've watched him on a podcast, actually, on a Drinks with Johnny. Is a YouTube podcast I listen to a lot. It's like one of my favourites. But he is Johnny Christ from from Avenged Sevenfold. So he's one of the members anyway. So he's basically getting his mate on, really. But Matt Bellamy, Anthony Kiedis, so many people I'd love to have on. Jim Root from Slipknot would be cool. I'm trying to think. Dan Hawkins, again, Justin Hawkins' brother, he'd be awesome. He's such a talented musician, just so talented. The guy from Dragon Force, Herman Lee, he'd be cool. He's got his own channel, but it's on Twitch, I think that is. Yeah, loads of people. I just love to have one. But again, I'll say it one more time. Matt Bellamy, yeah, number one.
He certainly would be fantastic. He's got an interesting mind, for sure.
There's definitely a lot going on in there again. Yeah.
Could do any other creative pursuit. Like, if you just magically had the time, what would you love to try, if anything?
It can't be being in a band or being a podcaster. It has to be something separate to that, does it? Oh, that's a good question, that. DJ.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'd be a DJ. I think that'd be cool.
I could see that.
It's sort of still a bit of a musician, really. Or actually, another thing I'd like doing now, as I've learned myself, and a big shout out to my friend Al Lindsay, who's helped me a little bit. He's like a music producer, like a studio engineer type thing. That's fun. I enjoy doing that. Actually, I'm going to go studio engineer as opposed to DJ. Studio engineer, being the creative force behind, no, do this, and then making something sound awesome. So yeah, that's what I'd do.
That would be cool. I could see you doing that sort of thing.
Thanks. I enjoy it. I like mixing music. I like getting all the sounds right, and even with a couple of the covers that are on my YouTube channel, mix them all and try to make them myself. It's good. It'd be fun.
Even though your show is really young, do you feel that your life in the creative arts, has it gone the way you thought, or has it been different than you ever imagined?
I would say it's just going as I expected it. I didn't expect, when I first started the channel, and this is going to sound again a bit sad, I was checking like how many subscribers I had on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and blah, blah, blah. And just started Twitter as well, to see if I can, all the different. And I was like, I was messaging people, have you watched this? Have you listened? Blah, blah, blah. I've sort of stopped now because it's just going to grow itself. I'll always try and grow it. I'll always try and do things to grow. But it's just going how I expected it to be. And I've just decided that I'm just going to let it grow naturally and move forward how I want it to move forward. I'd love to get some big names on. The most important thing for me is that I keep enjoying it, and the people that are coming on are enjoying it, and the listeners are enjoying it. You know, it's supposed to be a bit of entertainment. It's something different. If you don't want to stick on an hour worth of music, you can listen to me and a musician chatting away for an hour about random things. The most important thing I always try and get across on my podcast and the channel is, if you want to talk about your dog, talk about your dog, because it's something fun. You know, the world, there's a lot going on in the world. Wars, poverty, crime, people dying. We just come out of coronavirus and it's still not gone away. So many miserable things. Without sounding morbid, the world's not a nice place at times. So if our channel, if yours, you know, Creative Piecemeal and mine, Izzy Sandpit, can take people out of their stress for an hour and just listen to something fun and enjoyable, then crack on, mate. You listen away. And if you don't want to listen, I respect that 100%. If you think it's rubbish, well, then this is rubbish. This, retire, play Xbox, don't talk to me ever again. That's fine. I respect you for that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's really about promoting artists, doing something that you love as the host, helping those people, and then giving the listeners, you know, a nice escape or something to learn or something interesting to hear about.
The world is full of interesting people, and there's loads of, everyone's got a story to tell. But you know, if you speak to people, so many people have got so many nice things to tell you. You speak to someone, the first thing they don't go, oh, that bloke died the other day. They don't talk about that. Talk about something positive. And again, music is positive. Arts are positive. Whether you're a singer, a composer, a DJ, a rapper, anything, a musician, all of these things, it's enjoyable. A podcaster, a chat show host. You go on, you watch Jimmy Kimmel, you watch Graham Norton, who's a UK one, or Parky, an old guy that he's retired now. You listen to these people and they talk about fun things, and that's what it's supposed to be. You know, talk about something enjoyable, and that's what it's supposed to be.
With your work as a podcaster and a musician, what is a stereotype that you're hoping to break with what you're doing?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a tough one. I don't think I'm trying to do anything really. When I did my first chat with Benji Webb from Skindra, Benji is a very extroverted character. Follow him on Instagram. He's dancing in the gym and he's full of life. When I first sent him a script and he was like, oh no, let's just see how it goes. And that taught me, when I spent that first 25 minutes chatting to him, I didn't really have a script in the end. So that prompted me to just go, well, I'll take some notes and I try and read up on the person that I'm chatting to, like Angela from Bug Eye, a band from London in Croydon. And I dug out that she did this work for Japanese TV. It's like, I don't know if anyone's ever watched any Japanese TV, but it's crazy. It's like there's so many people. It's like climbing up walls of slime to win 50,000 yen or whatever. I don't know. I think it's about 30 quid that. Whatever the prize is. And and it's so wacky and crazy. And she was just like, oh, how did you find that? It's like, I just dug. So I try not to script it. That's the one thing that I taught from an early stage in my podcast, is not to script and just to let it go and to let it flow and just. So I suppose that I'm trying to make it as natural as possible and to make it as enjoyable. So it's entertainment as opposed to an interview. Like you go for a work interview. What has been your most challenging career? Your most challenging part of your work life? Well, I once had to deal with Barbara, who worked in the accounts department. It's like, yeah, and she was very tough to deal with. So, yeah, that's what I would say I'm trying to achieve. Make it fun.
And it works well for what you do. It really does. It flows naturally, I think. Even if you get off topic, it's like you get a peek inside of this creative mind.
Exactly. And I think our chat here, Tammy, has shown that I go off topic a little bit. It's probably a bit too much maybe for yourself, but I don't know. You're not going to change who I am. I'm 35. I'm not that old, but I'm pretty much set in my ways. My mind just always wanders a little bit at times. I think my school reports were always great potential, but needs to pay attention a bit more. It's like I could sit here and I'll be typing away and they'll be like, oh, something's just gone past the window. And I'll be like, what's that? And I'll get up and then I won't go back to my test for 20 minutes. So, yeah, and when I did my degree, I find myself just procrastinating of the highest order.
So I'm going to ask a few fun questions. Not that the others weren't fun, but what is one of your favorite movies and what does it reveal about you?
When anyone asks me that, the first film that comes into my head every time is Black Hawk Down. What does it reveal about me? I'm obsessed about a Ridley Scott film from about 20 years ago, and I don't know why. I've got the 3-disc special edition at home, and I must have watched it about 100 times, probably more. It came on Netflix out here, and I watched it again. What does it reveal about me? I like, as my partner, I like shooty films. But Fast and Furious 9 is crap. I've tried to watch it now, and I just can't. It's just a bit too out there. I like a film that's based on real life, actually. I like films that have been adapted. So I've recently watched a film called United about the Munich air disaster. That's on Netflix at the moment. And, you know, the Munich air disaster, the Busby Babes, terrible, awful. And when you look behind it, you know, it's because at the time, the Football League, which was basically the league that looks after all of the teams, now it's the Premier League. Back then it was the Football League. The Football League still exists, but the Premier League's gone above the Football League, essentially. And they didn't want English teams competing in Europe. And Manchester United were forced to return to play their game on Saturday. So they played this game on the Wednesday. And they were being forced to, or it might have even been a Thursday. They were basically trying to get back before this game. And this is back when, for those American listeners that are not aware of soccer, as you guys would call it, or football, as I would call it, English football, your squad essentially consisted of 12 players. You had 11 players in a sub. There wasn't this massive squad that you've got now, 25 players. And then you had your reserves. So essentially, they turned up and half of the squad died. And a lot of our good players, Duncan Edwards, who was like our star player, he died in hospital about 15 days later. And the goalkeeper survived. Oh, I forgot his name. I've just watched the film, for Christ's sake. I should have
that sounds so sad.
It was very sad, and it's a landmark moment in Manchester. And it took them years to recover. But the manager, Sir Matt Busby, he survived, and he basically started this team again, and they won the Champions League, or the European Cup as it was called, and they won the Premier League. And it was an amazing achievement to come back many years later and basically rebuild this team of superstars. So I like a film with a story behind it. I love a story.
So not so much fiction films, but like documentaries and things like that.
I mean, I love Harry Potter. I love Lord of the Rings. I love epic films. I like films but I like also, the only films genre I probably don't really like is horror. Bores me. It bores me to tears. It just doesn't scare me. Not a horror fan.
Interesting, because usually people say they're not a horror fan because it's scary, but you're not a horror fan because you don't think it's scary.
I think because I always know it's fictional. I think I find thrillers a lot more interesting. I like thrillers as opposed to horrors. I tell you what did freak me out actually, and I've got Hostel. That freaked me out. I watched Hostel. That's scary actually, because that thought, you know. So that's the only sort of horror film that I've ever really, those sort of horror films that I gave up after Saw 2. So yeah,
you should watch the Conjuring films because they're based on a real life couple and they're very well done. Very well done.
Oh, okay. I'll add it to the list. I try not to sit and absorb too much TV. I think I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with TV. Because I do so much behind the computer all day with work, and when I get free time, try not to spend it sat at the couch. Sometimes you just want to sit down and watch TV. I get that. There's so many other things you could be doing. Because of the time difference, quite often a lot of my chats are at 10 o'clock at night here in Dubai on a Saturday, and then I record them for the week later. So, yeah, or play guitar, or I do sometimes sit there and think, you could be making use of your time.
Good point. Yeah, there's always so much to do or read or people to connect with, instead of just sitting and watching TV. Although sometimes a good binge marathon of a show is always nice.
Oh yeah, I love a good binge.
What do you wish you had known when you first started your podcast?
What do I wish I'd known? Editing videos and music, editing video and audio takes a long time, and making it look good and sound good when I'm learning as I go, all the editing and the graphics and stuff. A friend actually recommended the service I use to edit my videos, and it's made it a lot easier. I just wish someone had told me that it takes a long time and it takes a lot of planning to do. And also it takes a lot of organisation to keep the steady flow of people coming in. And again, when I first added them all onto to the streaming platforms, it's asking for seasons. And I thought, I never thought of season. We're so used to watching TV programs and consuming that with it's season 1, season 2. I think I'm going to run 20 episodes a season now, because I've just gone past 12 and I've gone, oh crap, I've not done a season. So I'm going to run, and then I'll do season highlights and have a couple of weeks off.
Oh, nice.
I've got it planned. I am making a lot of it up as I go along. So it just takes a bit of planning. So editing time and keeping a good flow of different people and mixing up a bit, keeping it diverse.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, editing time, I think, takes everybody by surprise when they jump into this. They're like, oh, Lord, it takes that long.
Anybody that, if you've watched it before, Tammy, that I do in it. I've got my intro music, then I've got my intro of me chatting, then I've got my visual of who it is. So I have to cut the music, I have to edit out, I have to watch it and rewatch it, check it. It takes a good 3 or 4 hours.
It's involved.
It is involved.
So one last question, and we'll definitely have to have you on in the future to do maybe we can do some fun band related chat.
Let's do it.
For sure.
Taylor, let's do it. Let's book it in. I've enjoyed this. Thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it. There's been a lot of waffle. I'll be honest, a lot of waffle, as they say.
It's because it's so early in the morning and you didn't get your coffee till halfway through.
to be honest with you, I think with myself, you're probably talking to someone that's at the I probably should have been a TV presenter or something, or a radio host where I could just chat. My story is not particularly deep when it comes to music and my music career as such. So you probably just talk to someone that's used to sitting in your position and asking the questions and then sitting back and listening. It's probably a bit of a recipe for disaster having a fellow podcaster on.
No, it's great. I love having the variety. I love him.
Sorry, what was the last question?
Okay, waffle. It's okay. So this is a big one. You might want to think about it. Okay. In your own words, what does living a creative life mean to you?
I think it just means, for me, and this is, I think you'll agree, taking as much music and video and creative arts as you can. Don't rule out something just because it doesn't follow what you've done before. When I first got into music, I was listening to the likes of Elton John, ABBA, Whitney Houston, the Spice Girls. Don't be embarrassed if someone says, if your favourite band is Slipknot, but then you also like Lewis Capaldi. So it's about absorbing in as much creative energy as you can. Because one thing I've learned is that you can pull experience from literally everything out there. So me listening to you, Tammy, me listening to Drinks with Johnny, me watching Graham Norton, me listening to the way that Muse and watching the way that Muse perform, or any of these bands, all of my favourite artists. There's so much out there. Give everything a go, try it. Because it's better to try and not like than never to try. What is a minute of listening to something? You can always go, this is crap. If you listen to our podcast or my team, you might watch it for 5 minutes and go, Christ, this is rubbish. You might watch it and go, this is great. But so give it a chance. Give that film a chance that you've tried to watch before. Give it a second go. Give that TV program a go, give that podcast a go, give that band a go. Go and watch that thing at the theatre you thought you wouldn't like to see. Just go out there and listen and watch and absorb, because you might find something that you really like doing, something that you never thought you'd like doing before.
Excellent. Yeah, I would agree. It's just, there's so many talented artists, creators out there that you just never know. You just never know. You got to like not judge a book by its cover, basically.
Exactly. And it's important to know that that what we do as YouTubers and podcasters, and it is our art. And some people would say, oh, well, you're just chatting away. I've got to pull out the best from people and try and pull out what's interesting for the listeners. My thought process is always to make, is this interesting to listen to? Would I want to listen to this? And that's what I try and do in what I do. So there is a love there, and I only do it because I love it. So that's important, that you do something that you love, and it takes a lot. We give up a lot of our time, and it's still growing. So I always appreciate every time I see that view. When I see it jump from 50 to 51, I think someone's clicked on that. They've either gone, this is really good, this. For me, that's crazy, because somebody's gone on, someone's actually absorbed what I've done. And that's a great feeling. And that is a great feeling. So hopefully long may it continue and long may it grow. And
indeed, long live Izzy's Sandpit.
Long live Izzy Sandpit, and long live Creative Piecemeal Podcast as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being on the show. Listeners, please catch Dan on his show, Izzy's Sandpit. Again, you can find him mostly on YouTube, but if you're not into the visuals, you can catch him on most all of the audio podcasts as well.
Just be aware, the first 7 episodes of my YouTube channel were recorded purely for visual. So if they don't make sense, then there's a few bits where I don't analyze the audio of what the visual, what's going on. Going forward, I try and describe what's going on a little bit.
Ooh, good to know. So, insider tip there, future listeners.
Tip.
Excellent. Well, Dan, thank you so much. And listeners, please check out Izzy Sandpit. And thanks for listening to the podcast. Like the show, have a question? Stop by the Facebook and Instagram pages. Links are in the show notes, or search for Creative Piecemeal Podcast on social media and click follow for all the latest.